everybody. This is Angela, and welcome to another video diary of 350 and Closing, a gastric bypass story. As you can see, we're coming to you via Uvu technology, and I do appreciate Uvu because it's going to allow me to have the opportunity to introduce you to my baby sister. I know that I have talked about some of the inspirations in my life, and as the eldest sister, the favorite sister, I always strive to be an inspiration to my younger sisters. But in this case, when it comes to weight loss, gastric bypass, and just an improvement of my overall health, I really have to say that my baby sister, Sonya Bennett, has been my inspiration. And so I wanted to take a little bit of time just to kind of talk with her about her health and about the surgery. And before we get into that, Sonya, I don't know if you realize how much I brag about you, about how healthy you look, and how your entire disposition is just lighter and airier, and it's just a joy to have you around now. I guess once we're carrying around all this weight, we can get a little bitter and hostile sometimes, but you are just a joy to be around, and so I look forward to always talking to you and spending time with you, sweetie. Just wanted you to know that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Now, before I get started all up in your business and ask you a question, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Well, my name is Sonya Bennett. I am 40 years old. I reside in Detroit, Michigan. I have been heavy all my life. I was a fat baby. I was a chunky little girl and a thick teenager, and I became a fat, unhealthy adult. I am the youngest of a set of fraternal twins, so that was always the joke of, that I took the food from my twin mouth in the womb, and, people would say things like we look like the number 10 walking down the street, and, kids can be very harsh. It was hard to grow up as a fat child, and it was even harder as a very young adult. What more would you like to know? I'm a secretary, so I'm very sedentary, unfortunately, but I do try to make myself get up and exercise, even in the snowy winter days of Michigan.
I remember when you started talking about bypass, and you started talking about going to do some water aerobics. How encouraging has that been to you to be able to go and get in the water and do those exercises? Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, water aerobics is a great exercise. When I first started water aerobics, which was before I had the gastric bypass, I had a problem with my foot, and it was easier for me to do water aerobics. It's easier on my joints, and also I do believe being in the water, you're able to do more things because you're lighter. I don't know that I could do the Taibo kicking and the things that we do water aerobics. We do like a ribbit thing, a frog jump up thing, and which is good for your thighs and things like that. I definitely could not do that just out here in the real world, but I feel that water aerobics was very therapeutic. I still go on Saturday mornings. I used to go after work, and I'm going to start doing that again, but I do not believe water aerobics is only for people who are elderly. I mean, they suggest water aerobics for pregnant women, for the elderly, and for people who have problems with their joints or movement and flexibility. And let's face it, I was 320 something pounds, and I wasn't very flexible. Definitely had a lot of problems with my joints, and being diabetic, I have problems with my limbs as well. So I enjoy water aerobics. I would recommend it to anyone.
Good.
My next endeavor is yoga. I'm going to my first class on Wednesday.
Wow, you go, girl. Look at that smile. Tell me, well, before I ask you why you decided gastric bypass, I know that it seemed like over the years, every time I talked to you, you were starting another diet. Tell me about some of those diets and if you got anything out of them, or what was that like for you?
Well, growing up, my mother worked at Weight Watchers, and she was overweight, a size 16, not what most would call obese, but she was overweight and struggled with her weight. And I had two sisters, you and my twin, very small in stature, so being a chunky child, she would often put me on her own special diet where I drank the diet pop instead of regular pop, and I would have a salad and more vegetables versus, the pizza that my sisters and my father got. I definitely tried a number of different weight loss programs, some that aren't around anymore, some that are, and they were therapeutic. They worked. I learned a lot. I was on Weight Watchers as an adult. I learned a lot from Weight Watchers in terms of measuring your food and how to season your food with salt. And, when food tastes good, you're more apt to want to eat it. So, whereas I may not have been, having food that was drowned in and gravy and things like that as some of my peers, or very greasy, convenient food, I did learn how to steam vegetables, how to use Mrs. Dash.
Wow.
One of the things I learned on medical weight loss program, which was a program I was on, was that weighing your food could be as easy as just a hand size of hamburger versus pulling out the scale, which I do have a scale, but pulling out the scale and actually measuring 8 ounces of chicken. No one wants to do that. When you're hungry, you want to eat right then.
You want to eat, yeah.
I was on a program called Trim for Life that's not around anymore.
I was about to say, I don't know. Wow.
I like that program very much because they concentrated on vegetables and fruit, but they would chastise if I ate 12 grapes instead of 8, or if I didn't have a banana, or if I had a whole banana instead of a full banana. And I think that some programs, when they're too restrictive, you just don't stay with them. Yeah. When I started, receiving the compliments and hearing, oh, wow, you're really losing weight, then my reward was to eat. And, I would gain it back. I'd fall off the program. The last program I was on was LA Weight Loss. I was highly successful with LA Weight Loss. They were very motivating. What made me stop going there basically was just that I hit a plateau where I was retaining water. I didn't know why. I later found out it was because I was diabetic. And they gave me little tricks, like drinking hot lemon water with Splenda in it, and that definitely was great if I was sitting at home by the toilet, and I could go to the bathroom every 20 minutes, but, in the real world, we just don't do that.
Right,
so,
right.
But LA Weight Loss was the last medically supervised program that I was on, and I don't down any program. The programs are definitely better now. I've checked out Weight Watchers now because I have a friend who's on it. My grandmother's on Nutrisystem. Yeah. And, programs like Nutrisystem are good if you want them to fix your food.
Right.
But I think that when you're talking about making a lifestyle change, you have to learn how to pick your own foods and what works well for you.
Right. We have a music ministry that needs artist management, booking, promotions and marketing, and retail distribution. Have you prayed for an affordable way to elevate your ministry with the tools to make it happen? If so, I'm looking for you. My name is Primus Terry Green Jr., and I am the CEO of Phase 7 Music Ministry. I'm headed out this summer to visit cities to find ministries such as yours, to sign singers, songwriters, producers, groups, musicians, and dancers. I want to work with you to elevate your ministry. Visit thechosentour.com for more information on our tour stops and locations. Let's get started. I know that you want to be chosen to be another PG Entertainment Group Phase 7 Urban Music Artist.
For more information, dial 404-969-2765. Hey there, family. It's your girl, Angie B, your host of the hottest home hotspot. And this summer, Angie B presents the concert you don't want to miss.
Radio, women are being disrespected in the streets. I'm telling you, God made our women beautiful.
Mama handing the Bible, he push it to the side. Hop in the ride, headed to the west side. Mama on her knees every night.
Yeah. Make way for Godzilla.
This summer, Angie B presents Big City, Blacklight, Psy, Evidence 322, Keisha Dream, and Zion. The concert you don't want to miss. Log on to thechosentour.com.
Has life got you down? Do you feel like you're in a dark place? Suffering from loss of job, loss of loved ones, most of all, loss of self and loss of God? If so, allow me to introduce to you my book. Hi, my name is Dawn Martin, also known as Dazzler, and I am the writer of Fill My Cup. God has given me such a wonderful gift with this. It blessed me on my journey back from the dark side. I too suffered a major loss with the loss of my mother, and from that was a 2-year depression. God gave us Fill My Cup so that we can heal, so that we can motivate and empower one another out of the dark place. The devil is a lie. Only God has control over our life destiny. And Fill My Cup will help you to reclaim, rejuvenate, and restore your life. Let God fill your cup. Allow Him to bring you back from the dark side. Trust me, I know it works.
The Real Business Network and Design Group is a web development company who combines professional web designs, networking, and advertisement in one package. We have a great reputation for working one-on-one with clients, capturing their ideals by way of graphics, visual communication, content writing, and much more. For more information, log on to www.therealbiz.net or call us at 1-866-462-2811.
Inspirational, uplifting, positive music. The Real Biz Media is a unique recording studio with over 25 years experience in the music industry. We offer professional studio recording along with original music for the artist, songwriter, affordable rates, installment plan, and much more. For more information, log on to www.therealbizmedia.net or call us at 1-866-462-2811.
And when we talk about my grandmother, I remember having a conversation with her to where, she's 83. So she would be hungry and not feel like cooking a meal or just didn't have anything just to grab to put in her mouth. So she wasn't eating, which, being a diabetic, that wasn't good for her. So the Nutrisystem plan for diabetics, seemed to work for her. She's lost almost 20 pounds and seems like she's eating regularly. And but you're right. If we're talking about a lifestyle change, and I don't see how them preparing the foods would, be good for somebody younger like us. we got time to change our lifestyle, and we need to do that. So, and thank you for reminding me of that. I remembered that Mom had the Weight Watcher scales and things around the house, but I had forgotten that she worked for Weight Watchers. So, that made me feel really good to be reminded of that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's something because it probably doesn't stay in your and Tanya's mind because it didn't affect you like it affected me. She definitely was very restrictive with my food, and in that restriction, I would sneak food.
Yeah.
I can remember many times being punished because I would find a can of fruit cocktail that's way in the back of the cabinet. I figured she had forgotten about it, and of course that's the night she decided she wanted to use it for a recipe. And where is the empty can while I sip the syrup, as my treat.
Wow.
So, I think that for any program, anytime you're talking about trying to lose something, as long as you can control it and have things that you like, then it will work. Mm-hmm. I mean, I just don't think deprivation is ever the key.
Tell me what the final straw was for you to then decide I need to go the gastric bypass route. Tell me what was going on with you then.
Well, I had researched the gastric bypass for many years, about 10 years really, before I did the surgery. But the final straw for me was I was diagnosed as being type 2 diabetic, and it was devastating for me. I literally was crying in my doctor's office. He, sent in the nurse to try and teach me how to check my own blood, and I was so nasty to her, I had to call back and apologize because I was like, you don't have to do something. I don't want to learn. I'm not checking my blood. I'm not diabetic because that's it. I wasn't checking. They sent me home with the machine. They sent me home with the medicine. I wasn't checking my blood. I wasn't taking my medicine. And one morning in December of 2007, I woke up and I couldn't stand up. My foot literally would not hold me up. It was very tender. It hurt so bad that I was in tears. I remember calling my boss and telling her that there was no way I could drive to work. I called a friend of mine named Robert. He came over and had to carry me into the car, take me to the doctor, and they had to get a wheelchair and wheel me in. I couldn't walk on my foot. My doctor diagnosed it as a peripheral neuropathy, where my diabetes had spiked in the night and severed some of the nerves in my foot. At the time, I was 37. And he was talking about removing my foot. And that was the final straw for me that I always said that I was a healthy fat girl, and I was. Even to this day, I have great blood pressure. I've never had problems with blood pressure. But, my sugar got to the point like he was talking about removing limbs. That was the final straw for me.
Has life got you down? Do you feel like you're in a dark place? Suffering from loss of job, loss of loved ones, most of all, loss of self and loss of God? If so, allow me to introduce to you my book. Hi, my name is Dawn Martin, also known as Dazzler, and I am the writer of Fill My Cup. God has given me such a wonderful gift with this. It blessed me on my journey back from the dark side. I too suffered a major loss with the loss of my mother, and from that was a 2-year depression. God gave us Fill My Cup so that we can heal, so that we can motivate and empower one another out of the dark place. The devil is a lie. Only God has control over our life destiny. And Fill My Cup will help you to reclaim, rejuvenate, and restore your life. Let God fill your cup. Allow Him to bring you back from the dark side. Trust me, I know it works.
Hi, my name is John, and I'm a small business owner. I'm also the pastor of a small congregation attempting to make a difference in this community. I needed the services of an accountant who could help me with both my personal and business taxes. I wanted to work with someone local, and I found that someone. I chose to work with David Cole, CPA, with Cole & Associates. David Cole informed me that in the state of Florida, you can operate under multiple fictitious names. David taught our congregation the difference between independent contractors and employees, and the difference of separating business and personal accounts. David is located within walking distance of Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida, and he has been in business over 10 years. David Cole is a good, reliable CPA.
Contact the offices of David Cole CPA by dialing 407-536-2033.
Tell me what that journey was like once you go to your first information session and you're saying, rah, rah, sis boom ba, I'm going to have bypass. And here I are. I mean, what was it like to finally say, this is the procedure for me? How do you reach that decision?
Well, it's funny how weight creeps up on you. One minute you're buying a size 16 dress, and the next minute that 16 isn't fitting anymore, and you think, oh, I'll go up to 18, it'll be a little more comfortable, and then the next time it's a 32, and you're wondering, how did you start wearing this tent? Where'd all that fat in the back where you don't turn around and look at your profile and your back is huge, and you're like, that's how you didn't realize because you're not looking at yourself. I'll never forget my first consultation at Bariatric Treatment Center, which is now called Barrett Centers. I went with my twin. I wanted someone else that could listen to what the doctors were telling me. There were a couple of procedures on the table, but this doctor did not think that I would be successful with the band, which I agreed. And the band is basically a surgical procedure where they go in and put in a band around your stomach, and periodically you have to go back and have them fill that band with saline to tighten it. It can be removed. It can be broken. I know several people who have had it, and it has not worked for them. They're, still quite fat. The gastric bypass, for me, the consultation was scary. I had never had surgery except for my gallbladder removed in 2000. I don't have children, so any type of abdominal surgery was frightening to me. Also, they were concerned with whether I would be able to come out of the anesthesia because I had so much weight around my neck. I was on a CPAP machine, and they were worried about that. So that first consultation, he told me, you're going to have to lose 50 pounds. What? Well, hell, if I could do that, I would need surgery. So, it was a bit frustrating to me. He did show me a lot of charts and graphs and things like that. My sister, who, can be quite blunt and, stick to the point, basically was like, well, how much weight is she going to lose? One thing about gastric bypass, people tend to ask you, well, what's your goal? How much are they saying that you need to lose? Gastric bypass is not something where, so where do you see yourself in 2 weeks? So how many pounds do you want to lose in 2 weeks? It's not that. It is a lifestyle change where you really do not have a choice. Your stomach can only hold what it can hold after, more than 20 years of being fat. That's what I needed. I needed that stop sign to say, okay, you're full. That's it. So in that first consultation, I met a very nice nurse who had the procedure. She showed me some before and after pictures, and she asked me what was one thing that I wanted to do. that I felt like I couldn't do. And I said I wanted to run. And she challenged me to have a race against my twin sister around the parking lot after I had the surgery. Oh. Well, I haven't done that yet. We have not had a race. But, one day I would like to do that and see if she can keep up with me. It's something. We're the same size now. So, it's... So anyway, that first, and prior to my first consultation, I had 2 friends who had the gastric bypass, and one had gone through extensive nutrition classes, which I was lucky enough to be able to go to her with, and I learned some things that were very important that took me on as I went into my journey of the gastric bypass. And the main thing is that protein is what burns your fat. It gives you energy, it fills you up, and it burns your fat, period. Protein.
While I've been working on this documentary, 350 in Closing, the gastric bypass story, a part of my story is the health complications that have crept up in my life, whether because I'm 45 years old or because I'm carrying 350 pounds. And, I talk about these health challenges. You mentioned your CPAP machine with the sleep apnea. I deal with that. I deal with the type 2 diabetes, whether that was something that was hereditary or because of the weight gain. I am now insulin dependent. The high blood pressure is controlled through medication. The PAD, what the old folks used to say, poor circulation in your legs, the heaviness and the fullness in my legs and the constant cramping is what I deal with. The acid reflux. Oh my God, I used to watch the TV commercials of people trying to prop up their beds that had gastric bypass and drinking gallons of water. And to me, it sounded so ridiculous until I really started suffering with the acid reflux. And it's like, okay, let me just sit in this chair and take a nap. And maybe when I wake up, I'll feel better so I can go lay down. The asthma that has become worse. All of these things that I really had to deal with. And then I go to a support group, and they're talking about the fact that after surgery, you may lose some teeth or have problems with your gums. After surgery, you may lose your hair. And I'm thinking, those things can't be as bad as the health complications that I'm dealing with right now. Tell me about some of the health challenges that you've seen your peer group have since they're post-surgery, since they're out of surgery now.
I'll start with the most severe. I have a very dear friend who, directly after surgery, and she had her surgery 2 weeks after me. She was at home, and many infections began to set in.
Remember that.
I recall she told me she, by her own admission, smelled like she was hamburger cooking. She had to go back and have some follow-up procedures that removed the infections. That definitely was scary. I think the biggest downfall to many people who I know who've not been successful with the surgery has been just the lack of doing what they are supposed to do.